everybody, Gina DeLuca here. All right, doing something different today. This piece is inspired by one of my friend's drum sets. He showed up to a gig with a very cool wrap finish on his drum set that had me mesmerized, and I was like, I need to figure out how to do that on a painting. So this is going to be a monochromatic pour. Well, we're gonna do puddles. And the colors I'm using are Deco Art Americana Decor Metallics in charcoal, and the Deco Art Americana Decor Metallics in sterling silver. That is all of these colors here. So basically, this is all charcoal, this is all sterling silver, and these three are combinations of the two in varying shades. This is a mix of the Artis't Loft Flow Acrylic in silver and the Deco Art charcoal. So I am not going for cells today. That is not my intention. So my mix is a little thicker than what I would usually do. I would say this is about a 3. On my consistency scale, it is making a mound on a mound, but it is still flowing pretty evenly off the stick. That's what you want. If it is not flowing evenly, if it's getting thin and then thick, then you need to keep mixing. Your consistency is inconsistent. These paints have been mixed, 1 part paint to 2 parts floetrol. I didn't really need to add water. It was the right consistency with just the paint and floetrol mixtures. So that is what we're working with paint-wise. Before we get started, have you seen the Fluid Art inspiration cards? If you have, you can fast forward about a minute. But if you have not, what we have are 52 cards. There are 42 technique cards, and each technique card has an associated video here on YouTube that gives you all of the information that you need, the exact paint brand, color, consistency, the recipe, the technique, all of the things that you need to know that I can't fit onto a card. This is a picture of the painting in that video. This box contains a tip for this particular technique, and here at the bottom you have the color palette that was used in this painting. And these 2 boxes can be used as the basis of a 2-color palette, or you can build off of those colors. And there are 8 bonus color palette cards. Each one has 5 color palettes. You can use all of the colors or just some of the colors. Mix and match the bonus color palette cards with the technique cards, and you have more combinations than you could ever paint in a lifetime. These are available at my website, ginadeluca.net, and also at amazon.com. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do here is lay down my base coat. I typically do not use metallics for a base coat. However, I wanted this piece to be all metallics. I want it to, the very cool thing about metallic paints is it can have a very 3D look to it after, I mean, even just doing this, just doing little swirls like that, that will stay like that. You'll be able to see these differences in the paint. I love using metallics when I am doing water because I can just do little wiggles like this and it will look like water. And yes, I am using Deco Art paints, but I'm not looking for cells, so I am not using a paint that I know will create cells with the Deco Arts. For those paints to create cells, it needs a paint to react with, so I would need a glossy paint, which the Artist Loft is a glossy paint, but I added Deco Art to it. And so hopefully that will mattify it a bit. I'm not anticipating getting any cells. I mean, you know, you really never know. Sometimes it surprises you. The first straight pour that I did, I wasn't going for cells, and I wound up with a whole bunch of cells on a 24 by 30 painting. So sometimes experiments can surprise you. But the reason I'm using a metallic paint is because in between the puddles, I want it to be metallic too. I want all of it to be metallic. I don't want any flat paints because that would stand out. I'm gonna pop some of these bubbles. Okay. It's a bit thin here. Let me just give this edge a touch up. If your base coat is not evenly distributed, if say your edges are dry or not as covered, it can give a bit of resistance when you are tilting the paint off the edge. So I try to get the best coverage that I can get. Okay, now for the experiment. I'm going to start with the darkest first. And I think I'm going to do kind of pattern. And this will be getting stretched and swirled, hopefully. And then I'm just going to graduate these colors. And theoretically, this will create a very molten metal effect, one can hope. I mean, even just one color by itself creates a pattern. Metallics are so cool. Love them. Always remember to check your consistency. The sauce may thicken upon standing. Trying my best to keep them somewhat equal. And these are going to keep spreading out. I'm debating whether to kind of wreck it before I tilt it or just to leave it as is. and just tilt. Sometimes I don't make these decisions until right before I do them. It is very, very hot here today. It has been hot. I'm very sick of hot, to be quite honest with you. I'm an indoor cat, and for me, these temperatures, it is too hot to even walk to my mailbox. It's quite the bummer. We have heat advisories. Oh no, I'm not alone. I think lots of folks all across the country are dealing with this nonsense. I would much prefer snow to heat, because I can always put on more clothes. I can only get so naked in public without getting arrested or quite embarrassing myself. Okay. Oh, I got a drip out of place. That's all right. It's in a place that's going to get tilted off, so I'm not going to stress it. But I hate when that happens. Okay. Alrighty. Plenty of paint on this canvas. Now, I will do a quick pop of some bubbles. Okay. I'm going to try to swirl this a bit. I don't want these perfectly uniform puddles. I want it to have an undulating type effect. So before I tilt, I'm going to twirl. I mean, before I tilt it off the edge. So, in order to do this, you want to be mindful of where the weight of your paint is, and that is going to be wherever it is moving the fastest. By keeping an eye on that, you can be very specific about how your paints get pushed around. So you can see, even though I was tilting it this way, this isn't getting tilted off because the weight of the paint is right here. So I bring it down before that paint has a chance to tilt off the edge there. And I'm just going to keep twirling until I am satisfied with the composition. Go as slow as you need to get the result you want. If you move too quickly, you can get some squiggly lines, and that's probably not the most attractive thing. So now the weight of the paint is here. I'm moving it more towards the center, so eventually I will get more twirl in the center. I started with the weight of the paint more on the outside. And I'm just going to keep twirling and twirling until I am happy with the composition. This technique does require a bit more paint than you would probably use if you were just doing a straight pour or something where all you need it to do is stretch it out and cover the canvas. You need enough paint to get this twirling movement. You need enough weight there to push it around. It's getting there. It is a process. I've lost track of how many orbits I've done. But it's not there yet. I'm going to keep going. As many orbits as it takes. Like parking in Fells Point. If you were local, you'd find that funny. Ooh, hope I get there soon. My arms are getting tired. This is a workout. I do have a bit going off the sides now. I've gotten a wee bit careless, I guess. It's okay. We're getting there. Okay, now you can see I'm really in the center now with the weight of the paint. My circles are getting tighter. My arms are getting very tired. I'm gonna feel like I did yoga by the time I'm done. Okay. Nice twirl going on there. You didn't think I wasn't going to do my Fibonacci, did you? I'm not happy unless there's a Fibonacci somewhere in my painting. Okay, I think I think I need a rest. Holy frijoles. Okay, now I think I've got some good gradient things going on here, but I want to stretch this out and open it up some more. I'm probably not going to have this exact little swirl going here. This is going to get stretched. But it was in there and we all know it. Okay, now it's time for some catch and release. So I'm going to tilt off of one side. I'm going to come back. Catch it, stretch it. This is not how I normally do things, but I'm trying to make it look like that drum set. And there was a lot of very interesting, undulating things happening. I think I'm gonna do this corner. Remember, there was a lot of paint on here and I can't leave all of that paint on there. Some of it's going to have to come off. But I wanted to swirl my design in. And I could have done a ring pour and gotten a similar effect, but I would also possibly end up with cells, which I did not want. Okay, I'm going to try to cover this last corner. You see the paint is moving slower now. Whoa. My arms are getting tired. I have tendonitis in my left arm, and it is quite a pain. I'm really quite over it, but I'm not over it. Emotionally, I'm over it. Physically, I think it's gonna be with me for a while. Okay. The nice thing about putting the cup hooks on the bottom of your canvas, it really helps you to level your canvas, but also you can use it as a pivot when your arms get tired. You don't have to worry about your cups tipping over. Okay, I'm going to try to close up that gap in the middle a little bit. Okay, because this is not a square or a round, I don't want my focal point to be in the center. I like for it to be off center. I like to use the rule of thirds when I am doing a rectangle. The rule of thirds, you would have lines going through equal blocks, and you want your focal point to be in an intersection, not in the center. I only like in the center when there is a sense of symmetry, because then otherwise it feels funny to me. Okay, well, I think this is going to be a very cool looking piece when it's dry. It's going to have mega bling. No cells, woo! The plan worked. It doesn't quite look like the drum set. I think I actually need less gradient action to get the effect that I saw on the drum set. So not quite as much dark, maybe just different shades of silver would do it. Like, I don't know. But I am going to keep trying to get that effect because it was super cool. Okay, I think that's it. I'm gonna let this sit for a minute and clean up, and I'm gonna bring you in for a close-up. Back in a few. Okay, here it is. This is completely dry. I got very busy and was not able to get a video while it was wet. So it's kind of hard to see some of the nuances in here. But you can see kind of some of the subtle variations. This is not the effect I was going for. However, what I learned is if I want to do a ring type pour and not get any cells, this was a great way. Anytime I do a ring pour, if I am using floetrol, I get cells. There are no cells going on here. So if I want those sharp lines, this is a good way to do that. So, cool, I learned something. But once I varnish this, the sparkle in those metallics will show up, and this will be a pretty cool looking piece, even if it wasn't the effect that I was going for. I think I just need less contrast going on to kind of get the effect that I want it. But I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the composition. I think it's a pretty nifty, kind of trippy looking piece. I hope you learned something. I did. Please do like, share, and subscribe. If you're subscribed, make sure you click that bell so you receive notifications when I put up new content. A lot of folks are not getting notifications, and I think that bell has something to do with it. Sometimes you have to unsubscribe and resubscribe and click the bell for it to work. Check out the description box below for links to my PayPal tip jar if you feel so inclined. My affiliate links, Deco Art being one of them. You can get your hands on some of these paints, and there's a coupon code there. And if you use any of the links for my affiliates, I receive a small commission at no additional cost to you. Also in the description box, you'll find the link to our Facebook group. Go make some art. Join us there. Post your masterpieces, ask your questions, get some inspiration. A good time is had by most. It is the internet after all. And is that it? I think that's it. I always forget something. But that's it for me for today. I hope y'all have a beautiful day. Now go make some art.